And we're going to get right into it because, folks, in the bottom left now, tournament life even further on the line. We maybe have to get up a little bit too much last time. He's got to win this series. It's Reynor.
And spawn here at the top right, we got our blue Terran player playing for Shopify Rebellion, hailing from Korea. Give it up for Byun.
Of course, this is also a group that Byun can get out of. Really, it's kind of funny. We look at this and because Clem had won 2-1 and also lost 2-1. He is sitting solidly 0 map score because everyone else has taken a either lost 2 series, so Reynor, or has lost a 0-2 in Byun. So if Clem wins the next series, he's through. That is just pure and simple. But if he loses, it then becomes a question of how much does he lose by? Is it a 1-2? Is it a 0-2? Because if Byun wins this series, goes up to +0. Actually, if Byun wins this series and Clem loses, Byun is through. That's simple. It becomes, of course, more complicated, as we were saying, in terms of how much you get, how the map score works. If it's Reynor that wins this series and Clem losing in the next one, because then it'd be 3 players that are 1-2, and then we have to do all the math.
Yeah, I think the best case scenario for each of these players, every one of these players, just go for the 2-0. Don't leave it up to chance. Just go for the 2-0, give yourself the best chance, and be happy with the results.
So we saw Clem. Well, he tried Hellbat timing that really didn't work, and I don't want to see that again. But Clem found the majority of his success off these really crisp 1-1 timings. Right, hitting 10 seconds before Bailey's speed was done, force it, or maybe even a little more, forcing Reynor to take these engagements that it did not really work out for him all that well at the end of the day. And then it's like, okay, well, from there, it's the snowball. It starts rolling down, picks up more and more speed, it gets bigger and bigger. And as long as you can prevent it from falling apart, or maybe hitting a rock and breaking apart like that, the snowball will reach its inevitable conclusion. But Byun has got a little different way to get into this, right? It's going to be a 2-on-1 opener. I'm sorry, a 3 racks coming in from Byun in this game 1, trying to abuse the fact that Waterfall is just short. I mean, it's not the shortest map in the pool. That's Moondance. It's a 33-second rush distance on Waterfall, but even still, it's short enough that Byun thinks he can get something done with this.
Yeah, this is going to hit hard, and it's going to be up to Reynor to scout this. Right now, he does have an Overlord onto the right side and a Link onto the left side. If he can kind of get a Link up into the ramp, he will see all 3 racks, because all 3 racks are placed at the ramp area. It's not like Byun is trying to hide this. And so, second tech lab will go on, and ooh, actually, the Marine squad does get an Overlord, which is gonna go ahead and supply block Reynor here. Oh my god, is he gonna get this? He's gonna get that second Overlord?
I mean, he should be able to. Queens don't really have the transfused energy required, so that's gonna be a second Overlord. You talk about supply blocks now, it's starting to become a big problem because the 3 racks is gonna hit. Well, actually, not as soon as I thought it was. Actually, Sim is still pretty far away, but even still, Byun forcing Overlords out, forcing things that maybe Reynor doesn't want to build instead of, drones now, Lings later. It's going to slow down Reynor's defense just a little bit.
Oh, nice little pick off here. If you can kind of dwindle the Marine count before the attack comes, it does help a lot. However, with the 2 supply blocks and then with the bunch of drones being produced, I'm kind of getting a little afraid here for Reynor, as that stim is getting near done as well as the combat shield. Is Reynor getting a bit too greedy, you think?
He's on 44 drones. I mean, he is building links. His Baneling nest is most of the way done, so I don't think he's being too greedy at all, honestly. Like, he's got plenty of queens. He should be able to have Banelings morphing by the time this really starts to hit. The question, though, is whether he's going to know to build those Banes. The Marines show up on creep for just a second. There we go. So Banelings are on the way, and now Reynor's trying to buy time. He needs the Banelings to complete. He needs enough of them. Needs more Lings to get made. But Reynor's, he should be totally fine here. In fact, Maybe he's not even been greedy enough. He's only on 50 workers. But Byun is going to realize that this is not going to work. So factory is done. Starport is on the way. But Byun, he's just looking for an opportunity. He says, okay, maybe I can stim in when your queens don't have enough energy to really make that happen. You know, maybe you've dropped too many creep tumors and maybe I can punish. But Reynor's being rather conscientious of that. Now the Marines look like they're just posturing. They're just trying to buy time, but it's getting harder and harder.
Yeah, but BeoMulf, look at this. The additional 2 racks being added here. This is going to be a 5 racks timing. I mean, Byun, this is, I mean, as committed as you can be from a Terran player. And so he's going to have to find a lot of damage with this, or else he's going to be kind of lagging behind.
Oh, certainly. I mean, it's a 2-base all in from Byun. And from that perspective, I really do like his call to just hold on to the Marines. I mean, in general, I would like it because it's better to maybe have 1 bird in hand than 2 in the bush, right? You want to make sure you don't lose too much. But look at the target fire from Byun. He hits every single baneling, and now these lings do not take the fight that they're looking for. I mean, eventually these Marines are going to get the Marines are not even going to get cleaned up. And now here comes the second round. Now tanks are added. Now medevacs as well. And that was insane.
That
8 Banes, 55 lings for 13 Marines.
Yeah, I mean,
what the heck?
You know how hard it is to target all that baneling? I mean, granted they were slow banelings, but still.
Oh, that's massive. And now 4 queens have just gone down. Baneling's going to go around a corner. Byun, he's running out of stim, but banelings are still going to go down. Second round, going to go down. There we go. Baneling speed is done. So Byun can't pull his magic quite as easily anymore. And he lifts up a little bit too late. So all the Marines do go down. And Reynor still has his 4th base on the way. He's still on 52 workers, which is not incredible, but not the end of the world. Evo Chambers getting dropped, and that's really the big deal. Byun's going to have 1-1 versus maybe 0-1, but that's a ways off. So Byun's going to have a 2 upgrade lead for quite a while. But again, economy matters. He's not going to be on 8 racks. He's only going to be on 5. He's only going to be on 3 command centers. Sorry, 3rd command center is on the way. So he is transitioning out of this. He says he's gotten enough done.
Oh, nice little flank here. Does get the tank from behind. And so pretty much Byun will have to rely on his kiting of these bow units. No tank to park in the backside to siege up. Although he is adding a couple of liberators. He does have 1 tank here, but I mean, time is of the essence as this game progresses along. Reynor, he's going to get further and further ahead here with the 4 bases and the superior economy. So Byun, he's going to have to kind of potentially end this in the next couple of minutes, or else it's pretty much over.
Yeah, it does become rather problematic, but this is a strong pushing position that Byun can set up on the right side. As the tank does go forward, you kind of put it around the corner, and I've been talking about corners in TVZ a lot because it is really relevant. It's so hard for Zerg wants to be able to take the fight in an open field, get that surround. If they're forced to run around a corner, then they decelerate. Then you can just pick off banelings 1 by 1 as Byun runs forward, knocks an Overlord down, supply blocking Reynor once again. That's going to be a dead queen as well. Make it a second, not quite. Odd pickup, only loses a couple of Marines. And there's just such a nice safe position that Byun can retreat to with the tanks, with the Liberators. As this drop, it's not all that successful. In fact, taking a lot of damage on that 1 medevac, but the biostims in once again. Queen, of course, has been transfused, but Byun, then even the Marine's gonna stay alive. Okay, I was like, oh no, but Marine does stay alive. Reynor forcing a lift up on the 3rd base of Byun, though. At least that's annoying, but these tanks in the high ground, they're going to be a really solid defensive force. So instead, Reynor looks like he's setting up a massive surround here on this army on the bottom side. And that, it looks like it should be more than enough to break Byun out of this position, which will then, of course, open the map up for Reynor. So here we go. Lings and Mains coming in from every side. Full 360 surround, or 270, whatever you want to say. Queen's trying to deal with the Liberators. Marines, though, they're just going to drop on top of them. They're going to say, oh, you're dealing with the tanks. That's fine. Let me snipe as many Queens as I can. And that was, the Liberator's still alive. That was 3 Queens going down, and the Marines are still there. This was not nearly the powerful break that Reynor was looking for. Now Byun moving his way in onto the 4th base. Once again, a couple Overlords will go down. Good target fire on that singular Bane, but now Byun picks up, goes elsewhere. Ling run by on the other side of the map, though, with Lings, with Banes as well. The tank doing what it can, but really not like there's a lot of STVs there, to be totally honest. Snoopy, he will lose 8, but this is a 2.5 base Terran anyways.
Yeah, I think it's pretty alright as long as he kind of keeps up the pressure across the map, finding some damage, but I feel like Byun not quite finding enough of a damage. Maybe he can find it here and at the kind of 6 o'clock base here. Too much banelings and lings to defend, and he will push Byun back for the time being.
It's still, you say maybe Byun's not getting enough. Honestly, this is feeling pretty good here for Byun right now. It's not done just yet, and Reynor is still on 4 bases, but the cost effectiveness that Byun has been able to find 4K up at this 11-minute mark, it just feels really strong. And now we're going to have 2-2 done in just about 20 seconds. And that 2-2 versus 1-1 timing is, well, any sort of 2 upgrade timing. Terran versus Ling Bane becomes very difficult for the Zerg to deal with. We got to point out, of course, Reynor also only on 6 queens. He lost a lot of them in this game. Is Byun going to try to target that base down? Not quite able to get it, but getting it very low. A drop later on may be able to get something as he pushes through the middle of the map, maybe forcing Reynor to be distracted to allow him to knock that 5th base down. And Reynor's not going to fall for the bait just yet. Look at that scan, though. I'm not going to say Hail Mary. Reynor's still in this game, but the Widowmine bombs or the Baneling bombs, they're just not going to get what he wants.
And it has been revealed. Once it has been revealed to Terran, they will, be wary of that and scan ahead to make sure they don't run into some Baneling traps. Nice cutting here by Byun. Once again, finding quite efficient trades just over and over. And just being a really big nuisance for Reynor as he has to kind of defend like left, right, and center. Just pulling Reynor just all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, that is certainly what Byun is known for, but it is starting to feel a little bit like Reynor is starting to stabilize now. He's got his Hive on the way. His 2-2 is now just about done, so we're not going to have that upgrade disadvantage for him. He's on 73 workers. He does have 5 hatch, even if one of them is 50% HP, but I mean, as long as it's there, it's there. And it feels like Byun is going to have to, well, he's going to have to find maybe a different tack in this game. Maybe you drop the Ghost Academy, we go from there, but for now, it's going to be second factory from Byun, really wanting to leverage that tank count a little more, maybe go into heavier Widowmine count as he's got his 4th base looking to go on to position. But Lings and Banes are there to defend for the most part, although Byun is in position. But we can really start to see how this game is evolving. Well, hold that thought, because Reynor coming in from the bottom side. Bailey sweeping in from every side here. Reynor thinks he's got everything he needs and more. Byun's army is starting to fall apart. Bailey's getting fantastic connections, and now Lings and Banes on into the 3rd base, into the natural. And we haven't seen the insane damage just yet, but it is going to happen rather soon. There we go. 24 SCVs have died. And that's going to be more than enough. Reynor very happy about that last exchange. He finds himself down in army supply a little bit. That'll be fixed pretty soon, folks. Don't worry about it. But up about 40 workers and really forcing Byun into an all-in state. But 15 Banelings are on the way. And there are going to be more where that came from.
Yeah, great push there by Reynor. However, it's time for Byun to go for the counterattack. Doesn't look quite as successful as there's just so many Banelings here for Byun. Yeah, I think Reynor should be fine. Just gotta make sure to clean up these Liberator here. Doesn't have a lot of anti-air. Got a lot invested into those Lings and Banelings.
I mean, he has 8 queens, right? And even losing this hatch, which was rather low anyways, is honestly kind of fine. All right, he just needs to buy time for his production to catch up. He's sitting on almost 1,000 minerals. But the queens now, they're going to run forward. Liberators, just a little bit of extra DPS, but queens are still able to stay on creep. We're going to see that left side base get retaken rather soon, as Reynor also has the bottom right. So he loses 1 base, he takes 2. Byun still on 3 bases on 38 workers. And as long as he's able to still trade cost effectively, maybe there's a world. Maybe this works. I mean, he is up 9,000 resources lost. But I worry about the next swing from Reynor. As he's actually going Ultra Cavern before he's got 3-3. That's a little bit interesting. But maybe he feels like he's far enough economically ahead. 83 drones. He can kind of afford a couple Ultras on that.
Yeah, and what Byun is going to do about it, I mean, he's kind of just sticking with a lot of Marines for the time being and trying to deal with these Ling run-bys once again. This Ultralisk Cavern is not going to get scouted anytime soon, so once those Ultralisks are out, I think that might be it for Byun, unless he can kind of scout ahead of time. Sometimes you kind of get kind of a game sense of when certain units are out and about, even though you don't scout them, and you can kind of start preparing for them. But we shall see if Marauders are going to be into production in the next couple of minutes, as the Ultralists, the first Ultralists, are going to be popping out soon.
Yeah, they are. And even without 3-3, you get the Chitinous plating on Ultras, and they still have 4 armor. They're still tanky boys. And without Ghosts, with the economy of Byun in the entire straits as it is, it becomes difficult. It becomes incredibly difficult to deal with the Ultras as Byun drop on the north side, but Lings are going to be more than enough to defend. And I like this. I appreciate the economic balancing idea we got here from Reynor, right? So he's getting Ultras. Ultras effectively have 4 armor when they do have 4 armor when Chitinous plating is done, and he's getting Adrenal Glands. That effectively is a +2 attack for Lings. Nothing else, but just for Lings. So with these 2 upgrades, Reynor, he's kind of found a marginally cheaper way to get upgrades. I mean, he cannot afford his 3-3 just yet. I think once we see him max out, that's really going to be the name of things. It's a good scan there. He's going to find the Burrowed Veins. They're going to look to run away, but they will all die anyways. And with these Liberators, though, well, when Ultras were really broken at the start of Legacy, they were the solution. They do spell damage. They punch right through that Ultra armor. So we're going to have to see whether that is going to be enough for Byun here, Snoopy, as Byun stims in, but it's hard for him to take this fight. Even still, though, Reynor just gives it up. He says, you know what, tanks and Liberators, no. I want my upgrades. So he's going to buy a little more time.
Yeah, I think Reynor trying to wait for that critical amount of Ultralists before heading on in, because sometimes you take the engagement too early with only like 2 or 3 Ultralists and they get cleaned up, and you don't want to lose your Ultralists. You want to, similar to like carriers, like you don't want to make 2 or 3 carriers and then lose them. You want to build them up so that, because the more Ultralists or the more carriers you have, it gets exponentially more difficult to deal with.
Absolutely. But finally, we do have 3-3 on the way, and Byun's army is a little bit cut out here in the middle of the map. A couple of Marines will die, maybe. A couple of them, but certainly lots of Lings as well. But Byun has done a great job of turtling this game out. After losing his 4th base position and losing, 30 workers, he's on 4 bases. He's got a Ghost Academy on the way now, but already Reynor has his transition underway. He's got a Spire going down. This will be for Broodlords, folks. This is not an 18-minute meter transition. I know those of you may be excited by that concept, but that's just not how that's not how this game is played. So Broodlords will be on the way. We're going to start to see Reynor do what he can to bank up more and more gas to make that worthwhile. And in parties, look, he's got the rich gas base, and he's taking one of Byun's bases as well.
All right, another attempted Ling run by, a bit more costly though, as Byun was in much better position for that. And yeah, I love this kind of decision here by Byun, just to play very, very turtley, almost Maru turtle-like, and just got to keep it up. I mean, he's starting to establish more bases, and oh.
Yeah, it's a couple of Marines, not the end of the world. But yeah, you're right. That's the only way he can look to play in this game at this point, after the damage that he's taken from Byun, or from Reynor earlier. Reynor will force another base to get canceled. Good abduct there. We're going to see 2 tanks go down, but good snipes on the low ground. I mean, that's why it's so dangerous to take this fight. An Ultra dies. Vipers die. That is, again, this game is about cost effectiveness. Now, if Reynor is able to fully mine that base out from Byun, he's going to be up about 30,000 resources, and even 10k is not going to matter in the end of the day. But we're starting to get to a point where it feels like we're starting to approach the 2-base delta idea, where like even if Byun doesn't mine out of that extra base, it's starting to feel like he might be able to mine enough. Like he might be able to trade well enough.
Yep, now it's just all about base establishment. Just making sure you secure your base. Alright, looks like Byun ready to take the level clock base here. Reynor's like, nope, I am not going to allow that. I'm going to continue burrowing those annoying Lings to block it.
Now with missile turrets getting added, I mean, it's not going to block it for too long. There's another base going down the bottom side, and also Reynor. He's got that blocked in duplicate. Okay, Byun, you scan the position. Please. Please, Byun. But anyway, we got a fight kicking off here. Reynor sensing opportunity. Good blinding clouds on top of a lot of these tanks. The Ghosts, they run away. Personal cloaking keeping them alive for the most part. Ultras do not want to engage into this one. Banelings do not get the majority of the Ghosts. 13 STVs are all that really falls. Reynor, he remaxes. But with Queens getting at it in as well, this was... I mean, yeah, sure, Byun lost 14 workers, but he didn't really lose the base position. This was damn expensive. This was insanely expensive for Byun, for Reynor, excuse me. And every time this happens, I mean, look at the resources lost. In this last fight, it was 7,000 resources to 4. That is not tenable, even if you are up a base.
Yeah, this is turning into quite a game here, and like right now Reynor, he's trying to break the siege line, but Byun is just holding on, and really Reynor needs kind of the anti-siege kind of army composition, whether it's Brood Lords or something of that effect, where he can kind of break this siege tank wall as well as Liberator kind of siege. And Byun once again surviving.
Those tank shots on the Banelings were just so big, killing like 4 or 5 Banelings at a time. And I do want to point out what Byun has done here. This is not a planetary at his 5th base, it's an orbital. And this makes a decent amount of sense, right? You go, you do that one. And then when Reynor runs in, he says, ah, ha, ha, I'm going to break. It's like, okay, I'm just going to lift. Losing SCVs are kind of annoying, but I can drop a bunch of mules down and be fine. So Byun's economy is, for the most part, it's okay. Now, it's getting harder for him to resupply, it does look like, as Lings Bays again, they do run forward. Snipes going to go down on this Ultra. Tank's knocking down a lot of the bases. The splits here from Byun. He's just got so many Ghosts. He's got so many Ghosts. The Pew Pew is just too damn strong here. And yeah, sure, Reynor runs in. He gets a little bit more damage. He gets a little more structural damage, to be sure. But the Ghosts, as they cloak up, they two-shot Lings. It's really, Reynor's struggling. No protection! There's nothing to kill these things!
Oh, he sniped the Overseer, so he looks like Reynor did not have the detection, and all the Ghosts survives, and once again, Byun survives, and not only survives, but gonna go ahead and start taking the right side. Byun, he's down in supply, but he's still managing to hold on by the skin of his teeth.
It really does feel like we're in one of those games where the supply does not tell the story. Byun's army is about 1,000 gas more expensive, and yes, Reynor has committed to more spellcasters now. He's got some infestors, but even infestors are not. Those birdlings are being so obnoxious. Reynor's doing a great job forcing scans, but even the infestors, I mean, they're not incredible against this army. You would just kind of EMP them. So as long as the scans are there, we have Reynor once again moving in. Snipes go down. There we go. That's the fungal he was looking for. But the Ghosts, they still run away. And that being said, there's detection now. So personal cloaking will not be the great savior anymore. Snipes go down. And maybe Reynor is getting the fight that he wants at this point. Banelings come rolling on forward. The good splits there from Byun off of creep. Ultras, though, there's nothing to deal with them. Not anymore. And now, finally, it feels like Byun has taken the fight he cannot afford to take anymore. It really is just Marines. And the Ghosts, they do a lot, but they do not do enough. Reynor, in 24 epic minutes, he takes game number 1. But Snoopy, Byun did not make that easy. Question, though, is when we talk about Byun, is his favorite dish a Fyunyan? Favorite snack, I guess.
I mean, are they are they available in Korea?
I have not a clue. Well, they should be. I mean, think of the sponsorship opportunities there, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You could actually sell Fyunyans. Or Byunyans. That sounds weird. Then you're eating Byun. We don't support cannibalism on this channel.
Oh, no, we don't.
Although, I mean, if you think about it, when Zergs go late game and the Viper starts consuming things for energy, that is effectively cannibalism. Is Byun going for at least a 2-racks, 2-on-1 once again. We might even see that 3-racks idea. It didn't work game 1, but I guess full B1, shame on you. Full myself twice, shame on me.
Looks like it's just going to be a 2-racks for now. Might be a 2 1-1 instead of a 3 racks.
I mean, that's the likely idea, but yeah. Byun can be stubborn sometimes.
Alright, link speed on the way. All 3 drones being pulled out of gas. So it looks like Reynor, once again, going to go for more of an economic opening. And since there's no Reaper made here from the racks, looks like Reynor will be able to take that third with no problem at all.
Yeah, and really the lack of a Reaper in and of itself should give Reynor an inkling, at the very least, as to what Byun is up to. Right? If you go Reaper expand, that is, well, you know, there's a Reaper out. But if you don't, then it's either CC first or a reactor expand, something like that. And that is the build that gets greedy early to get more early to mid game power. So Reynor, even just by the lack of that last Reaper, should understand that, okay, I can be greedy now, but I do have to be very worried about any sort of pressure that Byun leverages right around maybe that 430 mark, something like that, or if it's a 2-on-1, you know, 530, somewhere right around there. So drones are going to be on the menu for Reynor for the time being. He's going to try to sniff out what exactly Snoopy Byun has in store for us.
Yeah, it looks like he's making a couple lings, so we should expect them, at least a 1 or 2, to kind of go across the map, see what's up. Because right now, as it currently is, Reynor has 0 information on what Byun is up to. Like, he is completely in the dark. So I'm gonna go ahead and maybe just poke on up with a ling or 2 and see what's up. He does see like maybe 1 or 2 Marines, which tells him absolutely nothing. But it looks like it's just gonna be a quick third CC coming out of Byun.
It's just going to be a 2-on-1. It's kind of a variation of the TY 2-on-1, where you do get Hellions and you do get a third base, but it is still a 2-on-1 where Byun just has not really gotten Hellions. But he does have that quicker third base, so it's going to be, at least he has a macro opening out of this. Of course, it does slow down his upgrades. If you get the quick third base, you do not get you don't get +1, you don't get E-base all that quickly. So right now we're starting to hit the point where Byun is looking to get active on the map. As the Ling scouts for us is like 5 Marines, and maybe that's enough to be spooky. But as the medevacs are getting made, well, Reynor doesn't seem to know about this just yet. He's got a Bailing Nest done, sure, but there are 5 drones on. I guess there are 24 Lings. You kind of want 31, but what's our Queen can add? He's got 8 Queens. Like he's got enough to defend right now, and we should start to see some more Lings on the way as the Lings do get out the questing, the hunting Marines, and they will find the big clump. So Reynor knows exactly what's happening, Snoopy. Question now, though, does he take any damage?
It looks like he have Banelings, a couple of Banelings on the way. Does he have centrifugal hooks? Nope, no centrifugal hooks. So he's going to have to rely on these slow Banelings for the time being. But he does have the creep spread it out decently well, so that should give him his Banelings a little bit of speed boost. And he does have a good chunk of Queens, 9 Queens out in the field with a healthy amount of energy. So I don't see this pack of Marines getting too much done. However, these Ling run bys might actually get some.
They're going to get a supply depot at the very least. I mean, that's something. But as you said, yeah, this is not going to work for Byun. He's been scouted out. There's a reason that 2-on-1s are not nearly as popular, as effective as they once were. And it's really simple. The Zerg knows that it's 2-on-1. They can be greedy and they can drone longer. And they just need to squirt out about 30 Lings right before the push happens, and then you're totally fine. Meanwhile, you've developed your economy better than you otherwise would have. And it also slows the Terran down. Their third base is slower. I guess it's a TYS 2-on-1 here. So third base is a decent time, but their 1-1 is slower. Their tech is slower. Really, as a Zerg, you're kind of happy to see this one. And of course, we got to point out this is not the Maru 2-on-1 that he was actually killing a lot of Zergs with, where you have the third medevac with the Widowmine in it that really does add a lot. Nothing is weird. Nothing is strange about this, except of course, the lack of Hellions with the third base. But the Ling run by coming in from Reynor once again. Snoopy doesn't get what he's looking for.
Looks like Byun smartly left some units there to prepare for that, and it looks like He should be able to, I mean, he should be able to clean this up, and there's a tank on the high ground. Nice little tank micro there, but all in all, a pretty, I guess, even-ish trade. Reynor did manage to kill some Marines.
The battle report's kind of funny right now because it says the Reynor killed 12 of his own lings, I guess due to splash damage. That's being weird. But yeah, it effectively made a decent amount of lings for 13, 14 Marines is pretty good for Byun right now as the army runs forward. Tank sieges up on the low ground. But again, Reynor's not interested in taking a straight up fight. Not 1-1 versus 0-0, no. He says, okay, counterattacks, knocking down reinforcements. That is the name of the game that I wish to play. And he's doing a pretty good job of it thus far, but this push from Byun is still scary. Forced to cancel on the 5th base. Now he's found that position behind the wall that is so hard for the Zerg to break, at least not without some sort of air to ground, maybe lurkers to reach over the wall, but really it's normally the mutas that do something. As now Reynor tries to go in from multiple angles, but he cannot do that just yet. And it looks like Reynor says, okay, that's fine. I'm giving up another base. Now this is going to be a 3-base Terran versus a 3-base Zerg.
A little bit of miss micro there by Reynor. I think he might have F2 or something, because actually that was a good connection on the Marines, but the other half of his army actually came in a kind of a weird timing, and so he wasn't able to sink it in time. And I think he kind of F2 moved or something, because the other half was kind of running by his tank line. So a little bit of kind of mistake there by Reynor, but all in all, he's still okay-ish. I mean, he's gonna take the other hatchery, but Reynor, he's gonna be relentless. He's gonna keep up the pressure.
That he will drop in the main base, though it's not gonna get a lot. Queen's knocked down one medevac, and Banelings get the rest. But Byun, he's going, Reynor going to an extremely quick hive. His hive is done pretty much as his upgrades complete, which is crazy. That's, I mean, it's insane, but he's going to be going into quick ultras behind this, hoping to catch Byun off guard once again with that tech. And Byun, first part, he's kind of pulled a Byun. He's forgotten his +2 attack until right now. So, yeah, Byun's going to have a 1 upgrade lead, but it's not going to be that 2, and certainly not that attack upgrade that is so impactful when you have a bunch of Marines. But Byun has been doing a pretty good job here. Snoopy, creep spread not nearly where it needs to be as Byun on the map once again.
Yeah, Byun has pretty much the top side creep on lockdown as his army still sieged up there. Looks like Reynor finally going to be able to maybe clean this up. Yeah, I think he should have enough. I mean, there's still a lot of things. Oh, might have spoken too soon.
Yeah, it's not going to work out for him. Some decent melee connection. You know, it's not going to work out for Byun nearly as well as he would have liked. But there we go. Ultra Cavern is on the way. And Byun, though, he's got the read on this one, though. He's got 4 bases. He's a Ghost Academy. Is about a third of the way done here. And that means the Ultras are just really going to be not all that great as Byun now moves. He takes as good of a trade as he can and runs away once again. Really see, Snoopy, that lack of that additional +2 attack. The Marines are just not killing things as much as they would like.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now Reynor would love to have +2 melee for his wings and banelings. His Ultralisk then not quite done, so he's just kind of like waiting for that, kind of buying himself time. But it's getting a little scary because right now Byun's army supply is about 30 or so ahead of Reynor, and he's starting to lose bases here.
That he is. Drop on the north side as well. I guess run by. Gonna knock down a couple queens. Widowmine's actually getting a great trade there. Knocking down so many lings, which now means Byun, he's not going to target fire the Widow or the Banelings in time. So he's forced back, but still. That's a great trade there from Byun. He's got this drop on the bottom side as well. Not getting any drones just yet, but at least forcing them off of mineral line. And again, the target fire from Byun is disgusting. He has been looking, even in that game that he lost, game number 1, his just ability to get the most effective trade possible has just been looking so good as Netherlings look like they're going to be able to chew things up. Ultras arrive, but kindness plating is not done, so these are only +2 Ultras. They're not really the beefy boys that you've grown to expect to be. And unfortunately for Reynor, he's shown his tech now. Byun is aware of what it is. He's got to drop in the main base as well. Spore's going to do what it can to clean this up, and Queen's are going to knock down the rest. But you talked about it. The Swarm is not the Zerg in this game. It's Byun.
Yes, certainly Byun is playing like a Zerg player, just attacking everywhere. And you know the unfortunate thing about Banelings and Ultralists is that they have no anti-air, and so if Byun wanted to, he can just fly his medevacs into the main while attacking the 3 o'clock as well as the 12 o'clock base, and it'll be hard for Reynor to deal with that. As you can see, not enough units here onto the left side. Finally, some reinforcements will arrive, but look at that huge army onto the right, or sorry, the bottom here.
Yeah, wouldn't mind. Get a decent trade as well as Byun just looking to commit down onto this hatch, and I don't think he gets it. Ultras and Lings, yeah, the hatch will stay alive, just barely. Meanwhile, Byun on the bottom side, though, sensing an opportunity. Widowmine is, they're not going to get the best trade, but the second one absolutely does. Very few Banelings remain on this side of the field, and of course, paying attention, there are burrowed Banelings on this ramp, so Reynor's going to try to bait Byun into that one, and it looks like for now he will not be successful. But I love these random burrowed Banes. We didn't see it come really into effect on Waterfall, but in this game where it is starting to feel like Reynor, he's just falling behind tempo-wise, I do like the idea. It does allow, it maybe allows him to break the tempo of Byun, as Byun is really just all over the place.
Yeah, this Byun's going absolutely crazy, just walking around, or flying around rather, as he loads on up another 4 or so medevacs here onto the top side. And Reynor has had enough. He's like, I am going to go ahead and start pushing, but oh man, he can't really do so with that planetary and a bunch of reinforcements from Byun. In the meantime, the attack at the top side still commencing. A good, decent Widowmine hit, and Byun getting tucked into a nice position. Finally takes out that hatchery that was weakened earlier, and he will go ahead and fly out with relatively little losses.
I think relatively, he certainly still did lose a lot, but in exchange for a mining base in terms of production, you can be very happy with that one. The scan just barely misses. Reynor gets all the Marines, and now there's not really a lot to kill. Well, Widowmine's going to kill a lot of the Lings, never mind. And of course, Ghost, yeah, they do 2-shot, but they don't fire all that quickly, so it will force a hot pickup running away. As they get the drop on the north side, it drops down. Once they get the Lings here, they're just not enough to defend. It's 3-3 Bio versus just 2-2, and now the Bio is going to find even more. The hatch gets canceled once again. And by drips and drabs, by little paper cuts, it is starting to feel like Byun is really pulling ahead in this game. He's up 9,000 resources, and unlike last game, his economy not sorely hampered. He's got 78 SCVs. He's got 5 bases. He has a plentiful ghost count. And remember, this is a game state we've seen Byun beat Darkin before. Dark, the man who was able to knock down Maru, who of course has the best late game TVZ or ZVT on the planet.
Oh yeah, for sure. Maru is just an absolute beast. Byun proving himself to be an absolute beast as well. As he does a good decent amount of kiting here at the last moments. As Reynor, he's gonna tap out, and Byun with a convincing game 2 will go ahead and force the third decisive match or game here.
So Snoopy, this is not exactly related, but I think it's funny. My local library, right? You can set holds in the library if there's a book you want to read. And I got my hold on a book that I've been looking to read. I went and picked it up the other day. I read it. I returned it, and I just got an email saying that my hold is ready for the same book that I that I just read, because I guess they never cleared the system, so it's now waiting for me once again.
You're like wondering what to do, or?
I'm like, well, do I read it again? I don't know. Like, have I been in a fever dream? Did I read the wrong book?
Well, I guess maybe if there's someone else that is trying to put a hold on that book, maybe you can just like forfeit your spot. Or if there is no one, then I guess you can maybe read it again. But
no, I think this is proof of simulation theory. This is proof that the universe is not real, and it is proof, of course, that we found a glitch in the Matrix. I've told the future. Easy. Glad we understand. I haven't told enough future though to understand who's going to win this series though, because it is hotly contested. I gotta say, I feel like Byun is just looking a little better. Like, these games have gone long, they've been very close, but even in the game he lost, Byun just looked like he was playing just a little bit better, the smallest bit better.
Yeah, he's been playing really well today, I gotta say. And Reynor, I feel like he hasn't played up to par of his usual self. But you can definitely turn it on in an instant, so maybe, you know, with the pressure on his shoulders right now as the series 1-1, and you know, the player that's losing this series likely gonna be out of this tournament. I think maybe that little bit of pressure can push him, but I gotta agree with you. Byun has been playing really well, at least certainly these past couple of games, but pretty much throughout the whole day today.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it remove any uncertainty from you. You lose this game, you're out of the tournament. There is no coming back from going down, from being well, yeah, there's no coming back from losing this game. But Byun, he's had the same idea about how he wants to deal with Reynor 3 games in a row. He's gone 2-1-1. Well, 3 racks, I guess, game 1, but still, that's kind of aggressive option once again. He went for a TY 2-1-1-ish in the previous game. It actually looks like he's setting himself up for that one once again. There we go. Third base is going to go down, 330 mark. So, yeah, his upgrades are delayed. His tech is delayed, but he is going to have the macro build out of the 16 Marines and 2 medevacs that looked up at pressure on the map. So it's kind of like, it's middle of the road aggression coming in from the Shopify Terran.
Yeah, we do see a bit of deviation compared to the previous games. Reynor actually playing it really safe this time around. Gonna research Overlord speed to get that extra scouting information. Want to make sure that he doesn't lose this to any shenanigans in this last game. And he will have a vision of what's going on. Does see that early third. Knows that there isn't going to be a pressure push coming from Byun. Yeah, well, the Overlord does stay alive, and that's nice. Reynor, again, he should have some idea, regardless of whether he gets the scout. And by the way, this was Overlord speed, so yeah, you do get that full scout. I think you said that anyways. But here's the thing, right? Reynor should have an idea about what's happening anyways, because there was no Reaper on the map, because these Marines were out enough force to drive that Overlord away. So now Byun, his stim is done here, and he's actually moving up pretty far in advance of the medevacs. He's trying to get maybe a little bit of pressure done before even the medevacs do arrive. Because normally, if you go for the TY 2-1-1, you get that third base. Well, it's a 5:30. It's 5:30, 6 minutes. It's not 5 minutes right now, so this is maybe going to be a little bit weird for Reynor. And Byun moves out. At least he knocks some creep spread down. But it looks like he's not going to be able to get too much more done than that. Yeah, he's not really looking to, you know, go for the kill or find any significant damage. Just making sure he keeps the creep at bay as he go ahead and start getting his third base. There will be a link to greet it and see this, but now it looks like the medevacs will be joining up, and finally Byun's going to go ahead and stim on front. Actually, a great position here, tucked into the choke area. Doesn't limits the surface area in which the Lings can get on top of the Marines, and wow, this push really going well for Byun. This is dead Reynor. Like, I don't want to say that right now, but he has 1 Ling on the map, 1 Queen on the map, and honestly, the 1 Queen is the far more important thing. There will just not be enough injects, really. The Reynor will not be able to produce enough in the next minute or so. Lings keep piling on in. Drones are pulled as well. Reynor, his tournament life is on the line here, and yes, he does force the medevacs back. Only 5 Marines remain out of the 16 that moved across, but we're looking at 9 Queens have died, 36 Lings for 17 Marines. Yeah, no, this is such a problem for Reynor right now, and he kind of got the scout, but unfortunately he didn't have the right read. That move out from Byun before the medevacs were done really threw a spanner in the works, and now Byun's upgrades are faster. He has 3 additional barracks on the way, going for 6 racks. I'm going to assume this is eventually going to be an 8 racks, because I mean, he understands how much damage he just got. He knows that he can just go and kind of do whatever he wants after killing 9 Queens. So the next round of pressure, we're really going to start to see Byun's supply really start to snowball forward, because again, there is just not going to be enough injects, not enough larva for Reynor in this game. Yeah, I mean, with that effective of a push, a first push, really there's so much options that Byun could go for. Either he can go get greedy and throw down a quick 4th base, or he can throw down a bunch of racks and make sure to go for a follow-up push and make sure you punish the Zerg. Make sure the Zerg doesn't expand to his 5th base as well, and punish him if the Zerg goes, goes greedy. And right now it looks like Byun has elected to kind of go in between. He does add in those racks like you mentioned, but also adding in that 4th base.
I mean, there really was no way to go wrong for Byun in this game. Does he choose to go up to full 8 racks and put pedal to the metal and try to break Reynor? Does he just get a quick 4th and, in the words of many people over the years, win ahead, get more ahead? And he's going to try to do a little bit of both. Take the 4th base, as you said, and get ready to get himself right there, get 2-2 on the way. But of course, also it keeps the pressure on. Force Reynor to never really be as comfortable as he would like to be, as another Overlord will fall. But Reynor does have some idea about how he wants to play this game. 2-2 is on the way, but there's a Spire as well. And it's a bit of an interesting time for a Spire. It's rather delayed for most of them, as Banelings will knock down this drop for the most part. It's rather delayed for even a delayed Spire timing, but it's not quite a Broodlord. So I'm assuming he's going to go into Mutas behind this. But again, it's just a weird timing for to actually get Mutas. This drop into the main base. Spores, well, they're going to knock down one medevac, and the second one not really going to be able to unload. So Reynor's defense is starting to get a little bit better as this game goes on.
All right, looks like the first initial hatch of Mutalist gonna pop out soon, so that will go ahead and kind of shut down these drops that Byun can potentially go for. However, I mean, at the same time, on Byun's side, he does already have kind of enough to deal with the Mutalist. He's already went for a bunch of Marines, but also adding in Thors, a bunch of turrets as well. He's going to make sure he does not lose to these Mutalists, because, once the Mutalists get into a certain amount of numbers, it gets so difficult to deal with. But if you can add in the doors and the turrets, then you should be set up relatively well to deal with that.
Oh, certainly. And I mean, he did get the scout off rather early. He saw the Spire with the drop in the main base, so he knows that Mutas are going to be the name of the game from Reynor. And luckily, Byun was not supply capped. He was not maxed out when he got that scout off, so it's not like you're like, okay, well, I'm stuck in an army that doesn't really deal with Mutas incredibly well. I mean, I'm going to trade out. It's going to be fine, but that initial burst of damage that you're looking to get as the Muta player, well, it's not really going to be nearly as possible. As now the Mutas, of course, they're on the field, 16 of them, plus 1 air attack on the way, but Byun, he's got his 2-2. He's maxed out. He's really solidly on this 4-base situation, as the Thor is doing a good job of zoning things back. Of course, it takes 3 shots from a Thor to kill a Muta. But now here comes Byun, a little bit further on the map. We got to point out, though, Snoopy, this creep spread from Reynor is kind of disgusting.
Yeah, he has done a really great job, considering that he lost the majority of his queens earlier on, right? Remember, that stem timing basically took out the entirety of the queen count. He had to remake the queens, use some of the injects, the energy for the injects, and then allocate some of the energy to the creep team. So all in all, considering how that beginning went, I think he has done a great job, creeping up and making sure he stays on top of it.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Now Byun, 3-3 on the way, and he's realized, as I think you and I have, that this game is not ending anytime soon. So he's adding on 3 additional command centers, although the Mutas are going to have a lot to say about that one. One is going to be delayed. A tank goes down, delaying another command center, knocking down the sensor tower as well. But these are delays. They're not cancels. They're not kills. So the bases should still be in a nice situation anyways. As the banks continue to grow, 3-3 on the way, Ghost Academy as well. The question really we ask ourselves is, at what point can Byun start pushing again? Because he got a lot of damage done with that first push. Reynor's done a great job of coming back to this game, although part of it is Byun giving Reynor an opportunity to come back into this game, because of course Byun could have gone up to 8 racks and just really put the pedal to the metal, but I guess he didn't trust his ability to, or he was giving Reynor too much respect to say, yeah, I can just go kill you with this.
Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised that Byun didn't go up for a follow-up attack and just push on Reynor, especially since he was mainly going for banelings and Mutalists. And the thing about that is that if you can kite the Banelings, then you should be, you know, you should be able to trade out well against a Berserk player. And the meterless count wasn't that high at that point, so yeah, I'm a little surprised that he allowed it to get into this late of a game, but he's still in a decent position. I mean, he has a large mineral, you know, bank here. Not too much on the gas, but you know, with Byun's army composition, really he's mainly a mineral army base. So you know, he's all right not having that much gas. In the meantime, though, Reynor, do you think he might go for like some sort of base trade? Because right now, you know, he has a decent amount of mutalists, and you know, the thing with mutalists is they're good at and they're great at base trades.
It's been awkward. Byun built like 5 missile turrets, so he killed 7 or 8 mutas before they were able to punch their way through all of them, which is actually a really nice set. You talk about Reynor going for base trade. I mean, mutas are going to try to get as much damage as they can, but I don't think we can consider that a base trade. You know, certainly not with all the mutas dying in this situation, not without Lings as well. But on the bottom side, there's a big Lig Bane run by, and they're going to force a lift up on that base. 23 workers have died. Reynor did lose a base, but he's starting to get a lot of damage done to the economy, to the infrastructure of Byun in this game as Ling Banes, they come rolling on in. This time it's going to be a dead planetary. I think, yeah, there we go, knocking them all down. 49 workers have died in the last, what do you want to say, 10, 15 seconds? And the meter count is not as high as it once was. Sure, that he's lost a lot, but he still has 14 of them as Reynor is able to remax once again. We got to point out, though, with 49 workers dying, Byun's worker count is at about 45, 46. His army supply is almost 150. He's got a lot of stuff here that is going to be able to... The next army that he builds, the next army that Reynor fights, is going to be difficult. As another Thor will go down. Lings again getting on top of the base on the bottom right side. 3-3 is just about done. It's a dead base. Byun forgot to lift it. And now it's starting to get rather complicated, although good Widowmines. How many mutas just died? 19 mutas have died in the last 3 minutes.
Wow. And 148 Lings there. Jesus Christ.
But I mean, you can't argue that this isn't working out for Reynor. He wants to move into a more ground pounding army, one that can just fight and kill this army of Byun, which means the mutas have served their purpose. They allowed him to rip Byun apart to get 50 workers to knock another base down. And now, Reynor, he's got his 3-3. Adrenal glands kindness plating done right around now as well. He's just built this army that is meant to outtrade, or not even outtrade, but just kill the army of Byun over and over and over again. But the Widowmine shots here, Snoopy, are fantastic indeed. Another Thor will fall. Again, Thor is not as relevant now as they previously were. Banelings trying to get on top of these Marines, not successful just yet. Ultras trying to do what they can here as well. The Marines, they kite backwards. They're so damn low, but not going to be low enough as the Banelings, they're going to burn right on top of things, but it's only one. It's not enough to one-shot. And the Ultra, they got to run away. Snipe is barely going to stay out of range. So, as cost ineffective as that trade was from Reynor, as we're still, the battle report thinks we're still in the same fight 4 minutes in of just concentrating. As ineffective as that trade was for Reynor, as inefficient, he's knocked Byun below 150 supply. He's forced him back. He got a lot of the tech done. And Reynor, with his bank the way it is, he can remax pretty easily.
Yeah, absolutely. He has a great even balance in terms of the minerals and gas bank. And more Ultralists on the way. That is going to be... That's going to really bolster Reynor's army, as Ultra was so beefy in terms of their armor. And also really great in terms of the splash damage. Man, I feel like I feel like if Reynor right now, he just added like a couple investors, make sure he get that fungo, and then get the Ultralists and Banelings and Link on top of the army of Byun, then that could be checkmate. But a lot of the times, you know, the Zergs just kind of rely on what they have for now, and I don't blame him. I mean, right now he's kind of in the driver's seat. Reynor making sure that he just doesn't, well, actually, I thought there's a attack here onto the left side. Will be able to maybe take that out. He definitely doesn't want Reynor to establish this base.
It's kind of funny here that the run by from Reynor that Reynor was getting into Byun's third is allowed him to defend his own base. His 9 o'clock base. Like, yeah, there we go. It's dual purpose. It's okay.
Oh.
Yeah. But now Lings and Ultras, they're going to find their way into this position once again. Missile turrets are going to go down. No, tons of supply depots, but Byun not really in danger of getting supply blocked just yet. But Reynor's entire goal this game, Snoopy, is to keep Byun on 4 bases. Once you get to 5, it's a little scarier. Ghost counts start to get a little more problematic, but keep the Terran on 4 with how heavy the Mule Hammer has been and 47 SCVs only. Byun is going to start to run out of money. He's going to start to run out of money. Actually, he's already started to run out of money. He's mining less than 1,000 minerals a minute. Big Widow Mine shots. Yeah, defensive Widow Mines. They're a powerful drug. They're causing some problems. Just a little bit. How many does that have? It's 4 kills on that one. 9. There we go. 13 and 14 kills on. It's like 40 Ling kills on those 4 Widow Mines. It's a lot. But Byun now pushing onto the left-hand side here. Reynor's just got to pull his mining away, but I do appreciate what he was doing by worker bombing that base. Eventually, you're not going to be able to hold the base, sure, but any money you can get out of it before the Terran takes it in earnest is money that you have on the map that they never will. And as the main game goes truly split map as it does go late, that is by far the most important component of the scenario. Can you mine more out of the map than your opponent?
Yeah, because of course, if you mine more, you can throw more, and eventually, if you mine just exceedingly more, then you can just throw wave after wave, and just kind of pummel your opponent to death. And once again, these Widow Mines getting such great connections, but finally we'll be able to clean them up with the Ultralisk.
But of course, they're going to be forced to run away as the Ghosts run forward, sniping them all down. And this push on the north side here from Byun, getting a little bit more. Another base does fall. Now, of course, Reynor, he's expanded bottom side. He's really, it's kind of cool. We look at these ebb and flow of these late game TVZs, Snoopy, and it's kind of cool seeing how the map will split on one axis, and then it will slowly start to split in the other axis. So, you know, for right now, we had this split map horizontally. Reynor, and in fact, not even a split map, because Reynor had taken both bases, so it's even more of a split map pretty in favor of Reynor. But now as Byun is starting to take those bases on the north side and the west side, and Reynor's taking bottom right, it's starting to shift into a vertically split map. And that's just kind of how it tends to rotate around as players kind of chase each other and try to expand where their opponent's not attacking, and well, it does become rather beautiful, doesn't it? But the snipes on the high ground here, I'm starting to worry, Snoopy. It was a great couple minutes for Reynor, but it is starting to feel, good blinding cloud on this army. Lings and mains come rolling on forward. That maybe Reynor has gotten stuck on this tech path just a little bit too far. The Banelings are not going to be able to connect. Not really. The snipes or the kiting is fantastic from Byun, and he's got another drop. He's got another run by on the bottom side here. Another base from Reynor will go down, and now this is Reynor actually short a base, or at least equal on bases compared to the Terran, but short a base that he can really take. And it feels like Byun is starting to bring his way back into this, especially as he scans at all the drones and 20 workers go down.
Yes, Byun looking like he's kind of crawling himself back. I mean, Reynor's still, ahead in terms of the overall supply, but look at the bank already. Already depleted for Reynor in terms of the minerals. Has a lot of gas in the bank, but not as much minerals. And like you mentioned, all these hatcheries getting sniped down. That means, 300 minerals invested into another hatchery, another 300 into another hatchery. He's not going to have a lot left over if he doesn't, continue mining off of them.
I'm really starting to get worried for Reynor here. Yeah, he's got 5,000 gas in the bank, but really not a lot of minerals. These Banelings, that's a good connection though. He forces it from the right side. Blinding Clouds as well, forces the entire army to pick up. And this is a great move coming in from Reynor. All of a sudden, the supply from Byun sitting right around 100. Reynor, he's maxed out or near about, and yes, the snipes on Ultras are going to be nice, but what this means is, I believe, he killed the Planetary on the left side as well. So this is, once again, a 4-base Terran. And that is what Reynor had to do. He had to knock down Byun onto 4 bases. The army of Byun was starting to trade just a little bit too effectively. It's Banelings kill rocks. That's not really what you want. But because Reynor has been able to knock Byun back down onto 4 bases, the reinforcement ability is just not really there anymore. Byun mining less than like 700 minerals a minute. Reynor is going to find himself happy if he can sustain just long enough. That base on the bottom right, I don't know that actually gets kept, although I think the blue is changelings. There we go. But Reynor has the base northwest. All right, he's at least trying to take the base in the bottom right. He's actually gonna Maynard a bunch of drones over there. So his economy is gonna start to explode once again. And because of this position now that Reynor has been able to build, Byun cannot take the bottom left base, or the middle left base that he's been trying to mine out from. So he's got to take the bottom right, and this opens up so much production, so much of Byun's production that Reynor can now look to punish.
All right, once again, another hatchery dies. And Byun actually lifting off his CC all the way across the map there. And right now he's just bleeding for resources. As you can see in the income graph, it has been absolutely all Reynor throughout this whole game. And you can see it being reflected here in the resources losses tab, as he has been able to trade out 12,000 minerals, or 12,000 resources.
Oh man, that fungal, I thought I was about to forget about that fungal, but that Widow Mine killed like all the lings that were looking to surround this army. So the army of Reynor not nearly as impactful as it once was. The one random burrowed Baneling from earlier, but another dead Planetary here. And yes, EMPs, they do blanket the Vipers. That's a problem. Reynor's gonna have to go back and rebuild. But Byun only on 69 supplies, 67 now. He loses yet another base. And I don't think he's okay, technically he's mining a little bit, but he's got like one mineral patch to his name. Yeah, this army that he has is going to be the last army he's going to have in this game, and I do like the decision from Reynor to really just get spellcast at this point. Get 5 infestors, spend that gas bank, and attack in from multiple angles. It's going to be so hard now for Byun to make sure he gets the EMPs that he needs. He can't really afford ghosts anymore, and he only has 7 of them. 7 of them are great. 7 ghosts are great, but you really want 15. You really want to go even further than that. And Byun does not have the minerals, does not have the gas to make that happen anymore. Byun, actually, I don't think he's not mining. He doesn't have any mineral patches at the third base. I technically, I think income says he was at, yeah, there's no mineral income anymore. This army he has is the last one he's ever going to have in this game.
Yeah, this is pretty much it. This is all he has left. Reynor not giving him the opportunity to mine off of any base. You can see him just like making sure and checking each of the remaining bases, the potential bases that Byun can mine from, even throwing down once again a burrowed Baneling, keeping up with the scouting on each of the bases, monitoring them. And at this point, he's gonna pretty much force Byun to either commit to the fight or just, tap on out.
I mean, that was a great EMP there on top of all the infestors. The fungal does whiff Parasitic Bomb, knocks down a full medevac. But Byun's only staying in this game because he wants to advance. Reynor keeps his hopes alive, folks. He gets honestly, a fantastic 2-1. What a series we just had. It took about an hour to get us through it, but every game was an absolute banger and a half, maybe even some mash.